Hey folks, welcome back. There's been a number of updates, information, and stuff that I've either missed out, haven't really talked about, or that I just hadn't really gotten to a point to talk about. This is one of those latter parts, where information came out recently in the past couple of months, and I just hadn't had time to do them, much less thought to do videos. I'm doing really bad making YouTube videos, much less actual content per se. But this time around, we're actually going to do it. Now, if you remember, a couple of years back, I actually did talk about figures, pop figures, upcoming releases, and stuff of that nature, right? So naturally, that's what I'm going to do today. But this time, we're going to be interesting about this one. We're going to see who we think is going to complete the entire party of Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, I'm going to show you this particular image right here because this is basically the large cast of characters that is virtually available now in terms of both Bring Arts as well as Funko Pop. The reason why I'm talking about both of these parties is because of the fact that they are right now currently making Kingdom Hearts 3 figures as we speak. Now, some of you would probably go on and say that, oh, well, the Funko Pop is obviously cheaper than the Square Enix Bring Art series, so it makes sense to go for the Funko Pops, right? Technically, you'd be right, except they haven't come out with all of them. Keep in mind, Funko Pop hadn't really started making Kingdom Hearts figures until recently, like 2 years ago. So there's that, and most of them with mostly Kingdom Hearts 2 related stuff. And I was actually really hoping that they would do Organization 13 from Kingdom Hearts 2, which they never got around to it. But, despite that, my hopes are actually relatively high, in the hopes that maybe Funko might actually keep up the pace and actually do more characters in regards to Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, I'm not saying Disney or anything like that, because that's easy. That's easy to do right there. But I'm talking about the main Kingdom Hearts cast of characters. Keep in mind that in terms of characters from Funko Pop, we officially have Sora from Kingdom Hearts 3 officially, along with Riku, Mickey, Donald, and Goofy. That is basically of the main party itself. So, and when you think about it, technically speaking, Donald and Goofy more or less came from Kingdom Hearts 2 series, but they don't really change much since Kingdom Hearts 1. So in other words, in terms of looks entirely, they don't change. In fact, they don't get new clothes. Makes you wonder if they even do their own laundry for that matter. But with that being said, we only have those particular characters. Now, in regards to that, however, let's look at Bring Arts. Bring Arts, if you don't know, is basically a secondary series that they've done since they've done a remodel of their Play Arts series. Their Play Arts are more or less of a bigger version compared to the normal series that you usually see. In fact, I can actually show you right now, the original Kingdom Hearts 2 Sora looked like this, and then the Kingdom Hearts 3 Sora, basically there isn't really much in terms of year gap, so basically the Play Arts version of Sora is way bigger than the Play Arts version that was done for Kingdom Hearts 2 Sora back a few years ago. So they've changed things since their last inception. And so based on that, because of the current Play Arts, they have another model known as Bring Arts, where it's basically the same thing, except smaller, obviously. And it kind of goes back to the same small size that the original Kingdom Hearts Play Arts series actually looked like. So they kind of went backwards, but renamed it. Okay? But with that being said, they have actually released a number of characters in the Bring Arts series. So let's first go ahead and look at what came out first. First you had, of course, the Sora Bring Art character from Kingdom Hearts 3 with his original new look, along with the Guardian form. And of course, along with that notion, you also have Riku on that plus side. So those are officially released now. Now, with upcoming new ones coming out, let's go ahead and look at what is officially available in terms of Bring Arts announcement. So, in terms of right now, what was announced probably last week or so, we have, of course, King Mickey, Kairi, Axel, Shadow sets, that's interesting right there. Shadow sets, which is basically heartless shadows that you can find in the Kingdom Hearts series. So it's kind of interesting that they would make their own Shadow Heartless Bring Arc character forms, which is interesting because that means you can model them however way you want to in terms of fighting, in terms of stagmented styles and stuff, which is interesting, but it's kind of weird in my sense, of course, but hey, at least you got some of the main enemy say in this one. Now, of course, unfortunately, they don't have a Donald and Goofy, but in terms of my collection that I have actually built up right now, there is actually a company that specializes in making figures, and they actually did one of Sora, Mickey, as well as Donald and Goofy. And the weird thing is that even though this is a completely different set entirely from Bring Arcs, Donald and Goofy actually match up size relatively well when it comes to the Bring Arcs version of Sora and Riku. So it's kind of weird how that works. Also, too, I also have Pete, which is technically from the Diamond Collection, which a lot of Kingdom Hearts fans would tell you, the human characters look atrocious. They're not exactly the best quality. But then again, they're like $20 per set. Depending on if you go to GameStop, they're like 15 or less, so you can get them easily for cheap. But with that being said, I did get myself Pete along with 2 Heartless characters that came with it. And needless to say, he scales relatively well with the Bring Arcs, along with the previously mentioned collection as well. So in other words, while technically Bring Arcs did not officially make Pete, much less Donald and Goofy, you can actually get them in various of different ways, and they'll scale well with the Bring Arcs. So I guess you're kind of cheating in that sense. So let's talk about official stuff that is officially out right now in terms of Kingdom Hearts 3 characters. For Funko Pop, there's obviously Sora, Riku, Mickey, Donald, and Goofy. Now in terms of Bring Arcs, unfortunately they didn't have that many in terms of what's officially out now. You have Sora and Riku. And then of course you could substitute Donald and Goofy if you wanted to, but unfortunately those don't really count in terms of official release, per se. But in terms of pre-orders right now, in terms of the Bring Arcs sets, you have of course the Kairi, Mickey, Axel, and of course Roxas. So that's really cool to see that almost all of them are there. But then there's also other secretly announcements. For example, there was actually a particular event that was going on back in San Diego Comic-Con this year, where it was revealed not only Roxas, but also Xion as a Bring Arcs character as well. So right there, Bring Arcs has already got pretty much the characters fixed up right now. They're not officially released yet, but they're on their way. In fact, as of right now, you can pre-order Roxas, but you can't really pre-order Xion yet, which is interesting. They've got it displayed for Xion, but they haven't got an official release as of like when Xion will be available. As for Roxas, that's a different story entirely. So, in other words, up right there in terms of pre-orders, you have King Mickey, Kairi, Axel, Roxas, and soon Xion. So in other words, we're almost right there in terms of the entire party being complete, with the exception of obviously Aqua, Terra, and Van, along with Naminé as well. So based on Bring Arcs, we're kind of getting there. But then you look at Funko Pop, and while in terms of what's released right now, it's not much, in terms of pre-order, it's getting close. Let me show you. So in terms of the official release for some of these characters, technically speaking, Funko Pop is releasing more characters in regards to Kingdom Hearts 3. Obviously, there's that of Sora with his ultimate weapon that can be seen in Kingdom Hearts 3, but you've also got selection of other characters as well. In terms of Amazon, I was able to find Kairi, Axel, aka Lee, as well as Aqua. So in other words, that's pretty interesting, but if you look in other places, for example, a website called popculture.com, there's some other interesting stuff as well. For example, you have Aqua along with her other self, or should I say Dark Aqua, as I should be specific on that notion. But you also have Lee and Kairi. Technically, Kairi is the same way, except she has a Palpable Fruit. In this version, however, she has a Keyblade, her main Keyblade. And in Lee's case, he's got his Keyblade as well. So in other words, let's do a recount, shall we? In terms of pre-orders, technically Bring Arts is already fixing to get them out there as we speak. So in other words, saying they've got Mickey, Kairi, Lee, Roxas, and soon Xion. And then if we look in the pop figure forms, we have Aqua, Lee, and Kairi on the way. So in other words, let's do a total count as to who is winning so far. So in terms of the Bring Arts, we have Sora, Riku, Mickey, Kairi, Lee, Roxas, and Xion. In terms of pop figures, however, you have Sora, Riku, Mickey, Donald and Goofy, Lee, Kairi, and Aqua. And it makes you wonder who's going to be able to complete the entire set of characters. That all depends. See, Square Enix, when it comes to the Bring Arts side of things, much like Play Arts, has never really been known for completing an entire character set, per se. It's very frustrating, actually. The only time they've actually done this, and they've actually announced this back in San Diego Comic-Con, where they actually announced that they were going to be making the entire character cast of Final Fantasy IX. This is actually really cool, because there's never been a full characterized set in the same scale in a single series, per se, that they've ever done. They've come close several times, but they've never really matched the height difference in terms of the characters. For example, Final Fantasy VII, you can kind of see the characterization in each individual form, but they've never actually had all of them in the same series. You get what I'm saying? For example, you've got like, they did Sid as well as Casimir in their newest Play Arts versions, but they were based on Advent Children rather than the currently being in production made Final Fantasy VII Remake. So in other words, we don't even know what their new look is going to be, if it's going to be translated from the original version onto the remake version, or if it's going to be looking like a little bit more of the Advent Children look. Or if Castus is going to be even riding that big pink little marshmallow looking thing, whatever you want to call that, I don't know. But with that being said, I'm going to place bets and say that Funko will probably be the first ones to actually make the entire character set first, before Square Enix's Bring Arts series does. The reason why I say that is because Funko has been very good at actually picking and choosing characters in order to build up stuff and everything like that. And whenever something sells really well of this particular category, they will dive into that category even further, knowing that it will probably bring them even more funds. I mean, if Kingdom Hearts 3 pop figures didn't sell as well as what they thought it did, they wouldn't have continued it even now. But with Kingdom Hearts 3 already been released, they're going to go ahead and make more pop figures, obviously. This makes sense. So I'm going to say that pop figure is probably going to be the first one that's going to complete the set, opposed to the Bring Arts series. Which is unfortunate because I do love the Bring Arts series. I prefer Bring Arts and to collect them, but I don't see them being completed completely, especially if they leave out Nominee. I'm hoping later on within next year we'll hear details about them releasing not only a new Bring Arts version of Aqua, but also Terra Ven with Nominee as well. And will they do one of Donald and Goofy? At this point, I don't see them doing it, but if they do, that would be pretty interesting to see what terms of formation they're able to be given, much less their alternate weapons. Then again, I know some people are going to be like, well, what about the toy versions of Donald and Goofy from the Toy Story world? Technically, I wouldn't count them because those are alternative costumes. And while yes, Sora does have his version, I like to preferably get them to be in their original look as best as possible. Then again, seeing them in the Pirates version, because they've got Pirate of the Caribbean Sora look, so getting them Donald and Goofy would be pretty cool in that aspect. Oh well. Anyway though guys, that was basically something that I wanted to go ahead and do. It's been something I've been building up for quite some time, and I just felt like, hey, let's just do a video in regards to both Funko Pop figures as well as Bring Art figures and put them together and see who wins. So, thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.